Okay. All right, let's call this public meeting to order. We're here this evening on the application of 131 Elliott Street LLC with respect to a 40B application at the old Henry's building located at 131 Elliott Street and Center Avenue in Milton, Massachusetts. This process began in July. We've gone through a series of public hearings. We closed the public hearing last week. And after closing the public hearing, we voted unanimously in open session to approve the 40B application with conditions. Once we had finished that process of voting, we went through a fairly lengthy process of reviewing various drafts of proposed decision that had been exchanged. And I think we had reached pretty much agreement, at least among the applicant and the representative of the town of Milton, with respect to those items. I've received today two drafts of an agreement and some exchange back and forth between Mr. Freeman and Ms. O'Donnell about the drafts. The last one I received was around 2:30 this afternoon, which I reviewed. I personally, we've noted that there was a date change to be made in paragraph 6 on page 2, but otherwise I didn't see any issues lingering from our last public meeting. So I'd like to turn it over to council to tell me if we have any remaining issues, or is everything pretty much done here?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any issues. We saw all the changes and we are in agreement.
Okay. Ted, do you have any questions, or?
No, because unfortunately, I was so busy today. I didn't have a chance to read the decision, and I came right here from the office, so I just wasn't able to.
Well, I don't want to, we've put a lot of time and effort into this, and I don't want to rush anybody, so if...
To just go over the changes?
I can go.
Could you,
yeah,
would that be okay?
If you want us
that'd be great.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
So when we had finished up the last meeting, where there were suggestions, conversation back and forth on what should be changed, and fortunately I brought a red line version with me so I could sort of go through where we made the changes. And basically, what we wanted to be sure was on page 5, where we talked about housing. That was sort of the first substantive change. The rest of them were kind of typo things. We're just talking about how the units were going to be included on the SHI, subsidized housing inventory, and we had just simplified that clause by putting in language to say that the applicant shall satisfy all the conditions imposed by DHCD to make sure that the units are qualified. Before, the language, I think, had said that the applicant was going to make sure that they were on the list, and in fact, it's a process that the town has to go through, and so we've cleaned that language up. The next substantive change is on page 6. As you know, the planning board chair, Alex Whiteside, has been concerned about the fact that he wants to make sure that these units stay affordable in perpetuity. And so at his request and his suggestion, we always included this condition about the fact that there would be sort of a second regulatory agreement. So once the financing with Mass Housing Partnership is over and that regulatory agreement expires, the town's steps up to the plate. And so there will be a second sort of regulatory agreement. Page 8. Sorry, the numbers are different?
Page 5?
Page 8? Sorry, page 8. The numbers are different.
Whoop.
Page 8?
No.
No.
Page 5 on mine.
Page
Page
5.
It's paragraph 8, right?
Yeah, paragraph
6, paragraph 7.
7.
Okay.
7. Is that what, in that page we had talked about, so we had longer provisions in here, and what we have done is to just simplify that language to make sure that we do have that regulatory agreement. It's going to be recorded before they get the building permit. So the town's wish to have these units perpetually affordable will be in place. In the next page, on page number 12, there had been discussion with the police chief about the fact that this project may put that intersection of Central and Elliott sort of on the bubble about whether or not it needs to have a traffic signal or not. And so we put in language to require that the applicant would contribute $10,000 towards the traffic study. The change on this is that it was evaluating the need for a traffic signal and/or traffic calming methods, and we've shortened that to just the traffic signal. And it's not the traffic signal itself, it's the cost of the study.
And that's acceptable?
Yes.
To everyone, okay. What are calming methods? I found that
Calm.
curious.
Calming methods.
You inject
Bumps.
Valium into the pavement.
Yeah, there's something that pops up out of the storm drain when you're driving too fast.
Okay,
Usually it's bumps, bumps.
all
I
right.
don't think would work there.
Waves, boats, I don't know. We had let's see, operations, that's all the same. We had talked at the last time about number 17 on page 7 for when the applicant would be getting an LSP. And so that language has been approved by the developer. We went through
I'm
the.
sorry,
Hold on one second.
can you,
Sorry.
Just run through the language for us.
Yeah, what,
was,
there'd
there
been
were, I'm sorry, excuse me, before, did you say 17?
17.
Okay, but there were, did I miss
No, I don't think
15
there
and
was a change.
16?
Oh, 13 was
Were 15 and 16 added, or
15 and.
or was, because the number had changed?
Oh, okay.
No,
Those were there.
The numbers seem the same on mine.
Yeah.
Those were there.
15,
The applicant shall apply to the DPW for a new drain excavation
Okay.
right-of-way permit. That was in. 16 was submitting an operations and maintenance plan.
well, you added that, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was at the direction of the DPW. 17, as I said, we had discussion the last time back and forth about when the LSP would be hired. And so where this now reads is that's after the demolition, but prior to the removal of the tanks, the LSP will be hired. We consistently went through the agreement to make sure that it was the building commissioner that was looking at things. And, let's see. I think the next substantive changes were on page 9, let me see, dealing with the erosion. 26, 27. We had inserted to the maximum extent feasible, no erosion will occur. The applicant should give written notice of the problem. We sort of worked this language back and forth about 27 about notice. And so this is the language we agreed on the last time, which was, the applicant's supposed to get written notice, use best efforts. If they can't do anything within a week, then the work ceases until they have fixed it. We are allowing 2 temporary signs, and we are, if the construction entails blasting or drilling, the applicant shall provide a blasting and drilling plan. I think my previous drafts had assumed that there was going to be blasting and drilling. Now we're just saying if there is, they have to provide the plan. That has to be approved by the fire chief and the building commissioner. And then the, what was not in the previous drafts was the list of the waivers that had been requested by the applicant, and those have now been added, starting on the bottom of page, the middle of page 10, and continuing to the signature page. And that list was taken from the list provided by the applicant.
And it includes the local wetland protection bylaw?
Yes, but I did point out, that's the last one, number 6 on page 13.
Right.
Says that that's going to apply, and that it's supposed to conform to the River Protection Act and the West Massachusetts Wetlands Protection.
Okay.
missed that. What happened to the WIT? Attachment 1?
Yeah, that we don't have. Attachment 1 is now
Okay.
incorporated in the decision
Okay,
itself.
all right.
Attachment 1 was the waivers, right?
Right.
That's it.
Do you have any other
I don't,
issues or questions?
I don't have any other issues or questions. Nothing that gazillion hearings haven't settled.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I had emailed, but just for the fellow members who I don't think saw my email, we also added, Kathleen
Oh,
did
sorry.
add what I suggested, the updated plans. Previously, we
Yes.
just referred to the September of
Right.
2014.
I saw that.
So there's an updated set, I'm sorry, I think originally it was June of 2014. And the architectural plans and engineering were updated again in September of 2014. We added those dates, and as you recall, at the final hearing, the engineering was changed because of the drainage, and that was a February 10th date.
Right.
So those are now referenced, and when it says the buildings or the project shall conform to the plans, it cross-references by identification all of those plans.
Do you have anything else, Ted?
I don't?
Well, I think just from a procedural standpoint, I think what I'd be inclined to do is to move to approve this most recent draft of the proposed decision, as Kathleen has just gone through it with the changes that have been made, and vote on that. And if the vote is favorable, then I would propose to just sign it right here and now.
Okay.
Is that all right? Rather than sending these back and forth to each other and all that kind of stuff?
Do they have to have like a fancy seal on them or anything like
No,
that?
they get signed and then
Yeah.
tomorrow, normally the
Yeah.
date that I received them is the date that I file them with the
Right,
clerk.
I realize you can't do that. Do you have the Board of Appeals case number that can you put that on there?
I can run it upstairs and grab it for you.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, and if you ask this again, but I was trying to listen to you and read some of it that I hadn't seen at the same time. And you did mention, yeah, there is no attachment 1. Will there be an attachment 1?
No.
Okay,
No. It is now, those waivers are now incorporated in the decision itself.
all of them?
Yeah,
Yes.
instead of having an attachment, it's built into the decision, beginning on page 10.
Okay. But there is, and I apologize for asking this too, there's some reference in here to the Conservation
It's
Commission, right?
it's the very last
Okay.
provision.
Page 12.
Page 12, number 6.
Well, that I have that. Or at least I
might
don't
not
have it
have
on
it.
page 6.
No, you can say mine.
Was that in the revised one and not
Yes.
in the
Yes.
first?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I didn't get the
Yeah.
revised one, that's why I'm...
This provision. So it
Okay.
starts on 10, and this is the list of waivers beginning here.
Oh, okay. I didn't see any of that.
Make sure we're signing the right one.
Right.
I haven't done that before.
Okay, and it is subject to the
The Rivers
notice of
Act and
intent
all.
by the
Right.
Conservation Commission too, right?
Well, I mean, it's
Without
subject to the
saying-
Wetland
yeah.
Protections Act, so they have to comply with the
Yeah,
Wetlands
okay,
Protection Act.
all right. Okay.
So you good? Let me formally move. I move that we approve this most recent draft of the decision, which is the result of some very good work between Mr. Freeman and Ms. O'Donnell. I would vote that we approve it and that we sign it this evening. All
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Great, so voted. So if you give us 3 clean copies, Kathleen, we can sign and...
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead. I'm going to be very happy to be back to my position as a lowly member.
I'm not Peter Freeman.
No, it's got to be clocked in. It's not clocked in.
That's the last one. Just do 3.
2425.
Would you prefer to type it in, or is it all right for me to just put it in like this?
You ready?
Okay, we have 3 signed originals. I think we're done here. So we can,
I'll file it first thing in the morning.
okay. I vote to close the public meeting. All in favor?
I'll scan an email.
Aye.
You guys after.
Great, thanks.
Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
That's me,
Thank you.
great. Okay.